Hey folks, JD here, and welcome back to Comics Are Awesome, where we bring you everything awesome in comics. But unfortunately today, I can't tell you the title of today's book. Sorry, it's just every week I say the name of the book, and all of a sudden they show a scene from a movie or TV show that has absolutely nothing to do with the comic. So, sorry, it's going to be a really short episode this week. Okay, fine. This week we're taking a look at Starman by James Robinson and Tony Harris from DC Comics. Well, that's more like it. So anyway... Oh, son of... Wow, we spare no expense on this show. Anyways, Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Wish I may, I wish I might. For a cheesy spoiler warning! Let me take you back to the golden age of comics. Before comics, people would entertain themselves by punching each other in the jaw. But then came the comic book. And the world was better for it. But early comics were crude affairs, often with simple plots, rough art, and a complete lack of characterization. Wait, am I talking about the Golden Age or early 90s Image comics? But despite this, as the superhero phase of the Golden Age passed, eventually nostalgia would rear its head and cause the then current writers to revisit these characters, either directly or by reinventing or reimagining new versions of these heroes. And one of the most often reinvented characters was Starman. The Golden Age Starman, aka Ted Knight, was pretty much a generic superhero of the time. No particular origin story. He created a rod that let him fly, shoot blasts of energy, or do whatever the story needed to. Vibrating rod. And he dressed like a Christmas tree decoration. Despite being a member of the Justice Society of America, he never had the impact the bigger names possessed. After that, they tried several different variations, using the same name, including a disco alien, no, really, an alien prince, and a guy with a mullet who got zapped by a random bolt of energy. None of them really stuck around long. And then enter David Knight, son of Ted Knight, the original Starman. Our story starts with David, dressed in his father's costume, standing stoically on the side of a building, looking down at Opal City, the city that he protects. His cape billows in the wind of the night sky, and then... No, really. I know it sounds like a joke, but it's actually what happens in the title. Go figure. But I've actually learned one thing from my Umbrella Academy piece, that you actually should read the entire book before doing your review. It's what marks me as a true professional. We flash back to earlier that day. We see David arguing with his brother Jack. Jack wants to get a hold of some of his brother's old things for his antique store, A Knight's Past, and David is getting annoyed by it. Ted Knight comes in and tries to break the boys up and tells Jack that David has important superhero things to worry about. In a pique, Jack makes a crack about David's costume. He immediately regrets having snapped, but he has hurt both his brother and their father, from whom the costume was inherited. and indignant Ted asks Jack to leave. We then see Jack as he goes about the rest of his day, searching for deals on obscure collectibles and assorted knickknacks.
Hunting down deals on antiques? What a nerd. Oh, did I tell you guys about the new Cyclone action figure I got?
But Jack's day catches up to the start of the story, and he's contacted by his father about the sniper having killed David. His father says that he thinks this is the start of something really bad, and Ted tells his son that he gave Jack a cosmic rod and fellow Golden Age hero, the Star-Spangled Kid's cosmic belt hidden amongst some papers in case of emergency.
Once again with the parents giving away superpowers. What is up with that? I got bumpkiss. If I ever have kids, I'm going to give them a bucket full of magical orbs and empathic dinosaurs and hyper-intelligent monkeys. Just not fair. Rather than parents with their no superpowers and make-out parties.
Jack offers to go with his father to identify David's body, but Ted turns him down, leaving Jack alone with his guilt. Ted walks to his car from the observatory, but the building explodes and Ted is struck by the debris. In the distance, a woman watches. At the same time, Jack receives a late customer to his store. Jack is a bit put off by this man, perhaps by the fact that the man is wearing all black, including black sunglasses in the middle of the night.
Can I help you? I want some candy. All I've got are these magical mothballs. I'll take them. Just take them and leave. Sweet. Oh, hey, do you validate? Just get out.
Yes, the clearly villainous and darkly dressed man is Kyle, the same man who killed David. Kyle literally fires upon Jack with a custom pistol/flamethrower, but Jack manages to dodge his fire and get a punch in, revealing that Jack has some martial arts training.
I know Kung Fu.
Kyle's pleased to actually have a challenge and starts firing. Jack flees, but is clipped in the leg and falls just shy of the box containing the cosmic rod and belt. The belt flies out, and Kyle claims it as a prize. Kyle fires out at Jack, but Jack dives further into the now burning store. Kyle coldly leaves a grenade to take care of the wounded Jack. Then we get an excellent series of panels where Jack's narrative wounds are at angles, his thoughts are scattered, thinking of all the old antiques that are burning around him, but manages to find the most important one of all, his father's cosmic rod. Holding it aloft, he swoops out of the building just as it explodes. Afterward, we see Kyle and his sister, Nash, the woman who blew up Ted's observatory, meet with the man who masterminded it all, their father, the Golden Age supervillain and enemy of the original Starman, the Mist. Elsewhere, a tired and beaten Jack stumbles to find his father. With David gone, Ted must know what to do. After all, Jack isn't Starman.
Man, is this comic dense. All I've talked about so far is issues number 0 and number 1, which is kind of why I like this book. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Kind of like the last time I went to Thailand, if you know what I mean. I just love their peanut butter chicken skewers, and it's so cheap there.
Jack visits his father in the hospital. Ted is under police protection and tells Jack to leave town since Kyle would presume Jack's dead. Jack does try, but when he sees Kyle and the Mist thugs attacking the wing of the museum dedicated to Jack's mother, Jack feels compelled to fight. He reluctantly fights Kyle again, but his cosmic rod is destroyed in the struggle. Ted, seeing his son willing to fight the good fight, points him to another prototype rod that he had put in storage, a larger staff-like device. But the Mist is hired a Golden Age Flash villain and Opal City local, the Shade, to capture Ted. The Mist calls Jack up and issues a challenge. To save his father, there must be a climactic fight between the two sons, Jack and Kyle, in the skies.
And so concludes our tale. I'm Leonard Nimoy. Good night, and keep watching the skies.
But while the story here is great, it's not so much what happens as how it happens.
Where Starman excels is in the details. Jack Knight is quite possibly one of the most fleshed out characters in superhero comics. He likes old things but is embarrassed by his father's past of dressing up in funny outfits. He acts like a rebellious punk but clearly has a good heart. His mind wanders even when he's in the middle of a fight. There's a great scene during his battle with Kyle where he's flashing back to all the times David had picked on him, like all brothers do, clearly internally questioning why he's helping the brother he may not even have liked. But as the fight goes on, you see him recall the times that David was nice to Jack, stood up for him, etc. Jack realizes that while he might have not liked David, he loved him. Speaking as a brother, that sort of conflicted emotion feels more real than many superhero comics typically get. The cast in this book is top-notch. I can't even begin to really dig into what makes them so incredible in this short review, but there are so many great characters.
I've often said to myself, talking to my action figures, whatever, that a truly great comic is defined by a truly great cast of characters. And it's especially true if it is a solo hero. And outside of Superman and Spider-Man, Starman's got one of the greatest casts out there.
Whether it's the O'Dare family of cops, the fortune teller charity, Mikhail Thomas, the previously mentioned and now amnesiac disco alien Starman, or reformed Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy want pants too!
There are a lot of great characters here. Even David doesn't let death stop him, once a year visiting his brother for an introspective adventure. Is it a dream, a ghost, or something else? I won't say, but the Talking with David stories are an easy highlight throughout the entire series' run. But the guy who really steals the show? The Shade. The Shade is a darkness-controlling, immortal villain. Well, kinda. While the Shade is capable of truly monstrous feats, he also carries trappings of a true English gentleman. By his very nature, he plays his cards close to his chest. But what he truly wants is Opal to be a place of peace for him. While he might steal or kill elsewhere, Opal is his adopted home, and over time becomes an ally, albeit somewhat of an elusive one, to Jack, whom helps keep the Shade's home from sliding into chaos. Speaking of Opal, the city itself can be considered a character itself. While the DC universe is littered with fictional burbs, Opal City has a lot more character than most. Robinson and Harris designed a beautiful Art Deco city that is starting to show its age. Not as shiny as Metropolis, or as worn down and gothic as Gotham, the city still shines at times like a gem in the rough.
But just like that massage you found on Craigslist, it's all build up towards the ending. Oh, don't judge.
Most comics will either tell a very short story, usually in a miniseries format, or they'll run until they're cancelled, usually in an abrupt fashion. Not so with Starman. The book ran for 80 issues. It told a long, epic story, but one with a beginning, middle, and a natural conclusion that wraps everything up. And even more astonishingly, without spoiling the specifics, DC let it stay that way. Jack Knight was allowed to walk into the proverbial sunset, his story complete. It's refreshing in the medium that I'll often go back to the well and bring back characters out of retirement or back from the dead just to allow Jack to rest. James Robinson stayed on for the entire 80-issue run, telling his story, and it's easily my favorite of his works that I've read. While it took a while to grow on me, Tony Harris, who did most of the first 45 issues, is now quite easily one of my top 10 artists. With his unique style, he uses a lot of photo referencing so that his art contains a lot of nuanced facial expressions, but without sacrificing the energy of the action. Peter Schneeberger? Whatever. That guy took over after Harris, and while his work is competent with moments of excellence sprinkled throughout, when compared to Tony Harris, there's reason besides pronunciation why one is remembered more than the other. Overall, Starman, with its emphasis on the legacy of the Starman line, is a loving tribute to the entirety of the DC universe, and all the little peculiar little corners inside. Whether it's Western heroes like Scalp Hunter, the Golden Age heroes like Justice Society, modern-day heroes like Superman, or even characters from the future like Space Cabbie, who's a cabbie from space, Starman touches on all of them. While Batman books focus on Batman characters and Superman focuses on Clark's family and allies, and while Jack eventually meets everyone who ever took the name Starman, the title isn't afraid to also just tie itself to all sorts of obscure corners of the DC universe. And I find that to be awesome, personally.
So there you have it, folks. Starman is an epic page-turner, and easily worth your time. I highly recommend you go out and buy the hardcover omnibus editions if you can. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're printed in order, the way they're intended to be, as opposed to the trade paperbacks, which are not only out of print and hard to find, but also have some issues out of sequence. But it doesn't really matter, as long as you give it a shot. And if not this book, then go out and buy something comic book related, because comics are awesome and we're going to get the word out.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let all the children boogie.
Where'd they go?